hand pointing up to heaven symbolizes going to heaven, and many grave markers have this symbol, hand to heaven. Doves are seen many times on tombstones as well as a symbol of peace. And this is an old grave marker. You'll see this as well, hands joined together as if they're shaking. It's kind of like a promise of mortality and the afterlife. You see that's very common on graves as well. And this person died in 1900. This is pretty fascinating. Robert Harriet Barrett was a famous actor. He died in 1970. He starred in a lot of movies. One upon which I know he did like an Alfred Hitchcock hour that was on television. And he did Bugsy Siegel. I think he starred in some movies with him. So he's buried here as well, though he died in Los Angeles, California. He was originally from West Virginia, and they brought him back to be interred in the cemetery. Hi everyone, it's Brookie. It's another magical walk and talk. I'm in Greenhill Cemetery in Martinsburg, West Virginia. You can Google it. Greenhill Cemetery. I did my first magical walk and talk from this cemetery almost a year ago. And Greenhill Cemetery is very, very big. It's huge. So I'm actually standing at the top of it. And that's the mausoleum that you first saw when I walked in. But these levels, it has different roads that you can drive down upon, and over the hill we'll walk down a little bit more and you can see how far down it goes. But Greenhill Cemetery was established in 1854, which was 163 years ago, and it's on the National Register of Historic Places since 1980. It's a beautiful old cemetery modeled after a French cemetery, and it's very, very fascinating to me. I've been fascinated by this place for a very, very long time. So we're going to take a little tour and do a little magical walk and talk. The symbolism of many of these grave markers are interesting. This one in particular is a column which represents mortality. So the symbolism of the grave markers here are quite fascinating because you'll come across many different grave stones and grave markers that have an actual symbolism, and they're very quite ornate. Over here is something I'm very fascinated with, and the tree stump grave marker. And you can Google tree stump grave marker, and the tree stump's something that's very strange. Around 1880 to the early 1900s, members who were part of some sort of fraternity, or they called it a woodmen of the world, the members were interred or symbolized with tree stumps. So it's kind of odd, it's kind of fascinating. They're not real tree stumps, but they're modeled to look like tree stumps. So it's kind of strange. I will take you to the site if you all can remember, if you go back and watch my magical walk and talk from September of 2016. That summer, or the summer before, I had taken a ghost tour here, and the guide brought us to this spot. And apparently there's a lot of activity that takes place here. And he talked about how many people come to this spot and leave, like they leave offerings. He talked about devil worship and stuff like that, which is a bit stereotypical, but people come here and leave offerings of some kind. I don't see anything placed here now, but people come here and leave offerings because these grave markers are kind of raised up a little bit from the ground. The ones over here are a bit more flat, I guess because the earth settled a little bit. But if you come across this way, and this is where we were standing, the crosses are upside down. What? So I think people come here thinking upside down crosses signifies Satanism or worshiping the devil. I think that's a bit of baloney, but so this is kind of an infamous spot. And then walking over here, say hi, Annabeth.
Oh, hi. Oh, God.
Walking over here is where I was standing during this ghost tour, and over here to my far left is where I saw the apparition of a Victorian era man wearing a black bowler style of hat and a black band around his arm, which symbolizes death. That was typical dress apparently in Victorian times, and I told the ghost tour about it when the tour finished. And he seemed very receptive to me. You know, he asked me if I've seen things before, not here, and I've said yes, but I didn't go into detail about the spiritual work that I do. But that's where it happened. So Annabeth and I are gonna only my child would take a magical walk and talk with me during
I love the action. I sure do.
We love the action. So she's accompanying me. She's a good sport. So I want to take you to a couple of other cool sites and show you how big this place is. All right, so we've walked down a ways, and you can see how far we've come, and up there is the Masoleum, which I will go and take you guys up to here in a little bit. But yeah, you've seen how far down we've come, and we're going down further. And we're gonna, there's a path. You can actually drive down each level. So we're gonna walk down the path a bit more. This must be a pain in the butt to mow. Oh my God. I would not want that job. And if we're lucky, maybe we'll capture something on video. I mean, I don't know. I did pray before we got out of the car. Many ghost hunters come to this cemetery, and I've been told that they put a circle of salt around the car and they pray or send up a form of protection, spiritual protection. So I did do that. And Annabeth is carrying a selenite with her. So I don't get a creepy vibe, honey. Are you getting a creepy vibe?
Yeah, my spine's like shivering.
Oh, you are.
It happens.
I'm so desensitized from it. No, I honestly, right now, I don't.
I do.
You do.
I just walked over there and it's started.
You walk, well, yeah, it looks kind of...
There's a road that goes down there.
Well, yeah, there's down this road over the hill is more graves. So,
No,
let's...
my spine was just like, you should just go up and down.
It did? Okay, well, let's continue to walk some more. They're coming to get you, Barbara. Oh my God, this place... From this view, looks like the Night of the Living Dead. I mean, anything's about to come out any second. I'm not kidding. Now I'm getting freaked out. And it's a real spiritual place. So I'm not making fun of anybody. But yeah. It has
I'm
the...
creeped out too.
Okay, relax. It has these views to it where you're kind of like, oh boy.
I'm scared.
And you can't really tell, but it's drizzling a little bit here. It's a little rainy. Here's a super creepy tree in the middle of summer with no leaves on it.
Exactly.
And I don't think that tree is alive, but apparently it is. I see some green right there.
Yeah.
So, we're going to continue to walk. I don't want to shake the camera too much.
Do you want me to hold it?
But, no honey, that's alright. Even in the strangest of, even tucked away, I mean, there's graves. You know, there's one, where is it? Right there, underneath the tree. If you can see that. I mean, they're just kind of everywhere. I mean, they're everywhere. So, they're pretty much everywhere. So why am I fascinated with cemeteries? I don't know. There has to be a term or a classification like for something like that. What do you think?
Yeah.
It's called being weird.
Yeah.
I just think cemeteries, I like this one in particular, are very beautiful. I just think they're beautiful. I mean, I'd like to be buried here. I just think it's beautiful, you know? There's something about it, and it's just not the spookiness factor, but there's something about it that's very beautiful. So here's another road, and we're going to take this road.
Oh no.
And dun dun dun, and
Stop,
see what we
please.
come up to. See what we run into, huh? You ready?
Yeah, I guess.
So we just stumbled across these really cool feathers that were on the ground, and Annabeth has her, show everybody your nails. She has her fake nails on, good Lord.
Exactly.
These really cool feathers, I don't know what kind of feather that is. If anybody knows, let me know. I'm going to have to Google that. Anyway, we just found them, so let's keep those.
Exactly.
Want to keep them?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's continue on, shall we? Let's continue on. You can hear the cicadas and the trees.
I just feel like something's just going to pop out and run.
Maybe.
Yeah, they're pretty cool feathers.
Yeah, those are pretty feathers.
I wonder what bird it is, like a turkey or I don't know.
I have no clue.
I don't either.
They're really cool though. All right, so we're walking down this road, and this is the last level. However, the level goes all the way around, and that's not much of a view. I mean, it's huge. But this is the last level, and down here is a hill where it drops off, and it's full of trees and brush, but this is the last level. Somebody's flowers that got away. So for instance, we're just walking down this path, and here's someone's grave at the edge of this road over the drop here. She was a baby, July 5th to September 6th, so she was only
a day old.
She was 2 months old. A day old.
I'm sorry.
Really? She was 2 months old. Where'd you get a day from?
I don't know, because I just saw her sick.
We got to work on our math skills.
Yeah, I know.
Here's another grave. Oh my God. Here's another grave that's unmarked because it's so old, it's faded, and then there's the drop off. So people are literally buried everywhere. Everywhere. Here, there's some more down here as well. I mean, they're literally, there's probably unmarked graves here that we don't even know where they're buried. pretty wild. It's pretty wild. So we just saw this as we're walking by. I don't know what they are, but there's some sort of weird centipede thing on someone's grave. Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird. So,
Is that a bunny?
once again, no, that's a lamb.
Oh, the lamb?
That's a lamb. Yeah, that's a
Why
lamb.
was that a lamb?
When you see a lamb like that, that means it was a baby, honey. So Claude Thomas was a baby. And he was only 3 days old. No, sorry, 2. Talk about math skills.
Exactly.
He was 2 days old. Bless his heart. Aww. So he's buried here on the side of the road in Greenhill Cemetery. That noise you hear is probably
Garbage truck.
a garbage truck somewhere. So, I want to take you guys up here. This is a very interesting spot, but we're going to keep walking down this path. So there's more graves on the side of the road. And there's more. Here's some old steps. This old wall. And old steps that you can walk up. There's a lot of children, a lot of babies buried down here for some reason. I wonder
What is that,
why
a barrel or?
why they're buried down here. I don't know. Here comes a train, if you guys can hear the train. It's a West Virginia train, y'all. So they mowed down here. Up there is some sort of tomb or burial place, or that could be where they keep the lawnmower. I don't know. Watch out, honey, it's muddy. There's another grave that's faded. You can't read it. I guess that's fresh earth, where they dig up graves and then dump the
Stuff.
topsoil that comes off. So we're gonna go down to the last level down here. So now it's really starting to rain, but I want to take you guys over here. When I went on the ghost tour a few years ago, a couple summers ago, the tour guide is very knowledgeable. He's written a lot of books about this area. Right through here, apparently, are unmarked graves. And apparently, they're unmarked graves of African Americans during the time of slavery. Apparently, if many of them were not buried here because of their color and race, and they were literally just dumped here. Now, that's what he said. I don't know if there's any evidence to that, but that's what he said. Right in this spot, right off the road. And when he told us this, it was the end of the tour, and it was dark out, and it was very, very sad. So, but that's what he told us. I wanted to show you guys this. There's this. We think it looks like a hobbit hole. But it has a lock on the door. So I don't know if it's people are buried in there and they just have a lock. But it's very unusual, whoever built this. So I wanted to show you guys. Let me pick up my shillelagh stick. Here it is. Arr! Stay away, zombies. Come on, honey. Now it's really, really raining.
Yeah.
But we're just gonna walk on through the cemetery. Two crazy girls.
You're mostly crazy, not me.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
So, we're just walking on through. There's the back of it. And I'm going to take you guys up to the Mausoleum. Let's cut through this way, honey. Yeah. Let's go up this way. See what's going on.
Your stick just pinched
Sorry. my stick and your crazy fake nails.
Hey,
Your Dolly Parton nails.
I like them. They're pretty. They're long and they're cute.
We're the only ones here
Practically.
that we know of, right? I mean,
yeah.
Who really knows who's really here? But we're gonna walk up to the Mausoleum and we'll take you up there. So here's the far left side of the building when you come in. That looks like stained glass in the window. This is the Mausoleum, and I believe this was built in 1913. The cemetery was built or erected and designed in 1854, so this came after. And that's another creepy train coming through. And this is the front part of the Mausoleum. Looks like it's made of granite or concrete. I might be wrong on that. What kind of stone that is. And I don't believe that it's open to the public. However, the caretaker lives here, and a person that I was chatting with who's a paranormal investigator has access and has invited me to go in. So those are the front doors. I believe that's copper. The front doors are copper. And then there's stained glass up at the top. Mausoleum. So here is the grand entryway to drive up, which leads you to the Mausoleum. And of course there are benches that you can sit at. Don't know how many are buried inside. You can look through the doors. I've done it. So this is the Mausoleum. I'm sweating to death. It's so hot. But it looks like what's inside, I'm sorry you don't have such a great view. There looks like there's some sort of podium. And then benches and stained glass windows. And I believe on the left and right side are where people are interred inside the Mausoleum. But it has marble floors and marble walls. And the podium is marble.
So luckily everything's marble.
And there's the lock. It is shut tight. No way to get in there. Which he told me, the paranormal investigator with his group went inside, and apparently everyone felt very hot, felt like they were going to faint, and they heard a voice tell them to get out. True story. For some reason, I'm not getting a creepy vibe right now. I don't feel threatened. But maybe it's because we did pray before we came in. I mean, spiritual protection is real. That does not mean that there's nothing that's... I don't believe this cemetery to be menacing in any way, but of course there's going to be possible spiritual activity here, or spirit activity. So that's the Mausoleum, and it was designed in the Neoclassical Renaissance period. And it's really stands out. Okay, 1917's up at the top, so I was a little off, but Greenhill Mausoleum. An update. We were leaving the cemetery and this car pulled up, and this older man and this older woman's like looking at me funny, and they're like, "Can we help you?" And I'm like, "I'm just looking around." And they're like, I guess they get a lot of people that are just curious, and it's open to the public. I'm like, what's the problem? It's open to the public, you know. And he's like, "Oh, okay, we're just checking." And then I was like, afraid that they were going to be like, "You shouldn't be here." And I'm thinking, why would they say that? And then I was like, "Oh, well, we have family buried here," which we don't. But they bought it. And I was like, and the woman was older, and she was like, "Oh, you do?" And I was like, "Yeah, like my going back to my greats." She's like, on my mom's side. And we have no family buried there. Excuse my hideous air conditioner. Anyway, it was just kind of weird. And then he's like, "Well, next time you're here, I mow the grass here." And he says it's 34 acres. And he mows the grass there. And he says, "Next time you're here, if you see me, come get me and I can help you find your family plots." And then she's like, "Oh, do you have a family tree and stuff?" I'm like, "Uh-huh." It was, I felt like I got busted, like I was breaking the law, which I wasn't. Anyway, that was the funny part about it. And he said, the mausoleum that I took you to, he said that he'll let me in next time. Of course, I probably can't put anything on video and be like, "Hi, I'm with the guy that mows the lawn here, magical walk and talk." That would be kind of funny, wouldn't it? Yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's magical walk and talk. And that was a funny part of the story when we were leaving. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you soon.